Hey gang, it's Super Sculptor Amy K. Hucks, and welcome to the Mighty Mitten Adventure. For my rave project, Christy asked me to do a little mini mutation virus for you, so let's sculpt up some fun. The clays you'll be needing is a bit of beige or flesh, some granite, pearl, a little bit of bright green pearl, some raspberry, and a dash of blue, and graphite. The tools we'll be using will be either a roller or a pasta machine. I prefer silicone tip sculpting tools, but you use whatever sculpting tool is best for you. A nice sharp blade, some graduated cutters, and if you're going to do a pendant, you'll want a bezel. If you're going to do a pen back, then hey, I guess you want a pen back. You will also need a soft brush and some chalk pastels. Let's take that beige flesh, pearl, graphite, and your bit of blue, and blend them together. You're going to want them on your thickest setting of your pasta machine once you're done. Double over that sheet that you rolled out on your thickest setting. Use a circle graduated cutter the same size as your bezel and cut a circle. Using a ball tool, we're going to create our eyeball sockets. So just place them where you like and make two. If you're feeling funky, make more. Roll out 2 balls of the pearl for your eyeballs and place them in the socket. I like mine to be a bit more bulbous. We're going to use that bright green pearl on a thinned medium-y setting and make 2 irises out of it. So use your graduated circle cutters and cut out 2 circles. Take those 2 bright greens and place them on your eyeballs. You're going to want to smooth them out, but not push them so hard that they blend into the eyeball. You want them to stand out just a little bit. And then we're going to take that silicone tip tapered tool and dot, 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 bloop, 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 all the way around it to add some definition and texture to that iris. Pupil time. So we're going to roll out 2 tiny balls of the graphite, which is my favorite. We're going to place them into the middle of each iris and slightly push them down. You want to make sure they're attached, but they still, again, want to stand out just a little bit. Here we go with our eyelids. You're going to use a smaller circle graduated cutter, about the size that goes just around the eyeball. Cut out 2 circles, and then cut each of those 2 circles into halves. These halves are now going to become our upper and lower eyelids. You're going to place each one cupping just around the eyeball and then smoothing out and attaching it to the base clay. Time for your brow and forehead. I never know what to call this shape. It's just kind of a sausage that's tapered on each end, or a snail, or I don't know what shape that is. Just make it. And since we're working on a circle, you're just going to place it above the eyes, leave a bit of a gap, and circle it around the edge. Take a pointed taper tool, put some definition in between so you have 2 brows, then use that same tool to smooth around all of the edges. Don't flatten out the fluffiness in the middle, but just make sure it's attached. Also make sure it's nice and smooth and attached to the base on the top as well for aesthetics and to be pleasing. To add more whimsy and expression, go ahead and use your fingers and push those brows into a quirky look, or grumpy look, whatever, or just leave them alone and have them nice, wide open and surprised. Time for the philtrum and the upper lip. We're going to push a piece of clay into a triangle type shape, a little pointier at the top, and then place that point right in between the eyeballs. Then we're going to take our tool and only smooth out the upper area of that triangle. Leave that bottom nice and fat. That is going to become our upper lip. All right, let's get to our tongue. Let's take a bit of that pearl and just a tiny bit of raspberry and blend those together. This is going to make a great color for our tongue. Take this new blend of clay, roll it into a raindrop, and flatten it ever so slightly. Take a pointed tool and put a nice little divot down the middle for some bit of expression on your tongue. You're going to lift that upper lip and push it ever so slightly under the lip and then press the lip lightly back down over it. This will make sure it's nice and attached to the base. Time for our schnoz. We're going to roll another raindrop of clay, only this time it's going to be more tapered at the top, so it comes to a point. You're going to place that right in between your 2 eyes and then lightly attach it down and smooth it. You can see here I used the pointed tool to make nostrils. Looking pretty good right now, I think. Let's get viral with this one. Take that raspberry clay and roll it out into a bunch of tiny little balls. These are going to be placed on our face in sets of 3, which to me is just more aesthetically pleasing. All right, let's play with those chalk pastels on a soft brush. I preferred to use a palette of purples and blues. in different areas, as well as putting a little bit of a blushy color on his cheeks. And here we go. There's our virus. Here's a couple better close-ups of the other ones I made into bezels. These are smaller, about 1.5 inches each. Just little variations. And you can even also add plump cheeks if you want to make a bigger piece. This piece is about 3 inches. So it's just a lot of fun. I hope you've enjoyed my mini mutation virus sculpt tutorial. And thank you again for joining the Mighty Mitten Adventure 2020 online virtual retreat. See you next year.